I think we can start now. There are, oh no, still waiting for you to go. Okay, I think we can start. Welcome everyone to IBC's GoodWe training. Today we have David and Lindiwe from GoodWe who will be doing the GoodWe training. So yeah, David, welcome. Lindiwe, welcome to, and hoping to learn a lot from you guys.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
Morning, welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, perfect. I just want to make sure that everybody can hear me. If you can give me a thumbs up, that'll be great, just to make sure that you can hear me. So everybody will be muted during the course of the training. But if you do have questions, feel free to type in your questions on the chat. Okay, so before we begin, I'd like to first introduce, maybe I should first start with those who are not registered with IBC. If you don't have access to our portal and you're an installer, please feel free to drop in your email down below, and Zane will then contact you guys and give you a form to fill. And once you get registered with us, you'll be able to have access to our online portal. So if you're not registered with us, please feel free to drop your email and then we'll get you sorted. And on that note, while we're speaking about our online shop, I would first like to then share my screen and then just give you a tour of IBC's online portal. Just see here. Can everybody see my screen? Okay, perfect. So let's begin. So we do have a special. See here. We do have a special this month, IBC special, where if you buy modules with selected GoodWe inverters, you get an extra 5% discount on the GoodWe inverters. You just have to make sure that when you are purchasing, you put in your coupon code, which is GoodSave at checkout. So you just have to make sure you do that, or else you will lose out on a 5% discount. And then there's also another promotion from GoodWe side. This is a 50% off promotion on plus 5 years extension warranties on the HTs and MTs. So which is only valid until the 15th of December 2023. So please take advantage of this. If you want to extend your warranties by plus 5 years, you can then go to GoodWe's website, which will be posted by Zane in a few minutes on the chat. And just click there, and then you can then look at the terms and conditions. So we'll start now with our IBC online portal. So you'll see there on the top right-hand side, there is portal, which you'll then click, and we'll put you to this dashboard. Those who are familiar with our web shop will know this, but if you're not, please pay attention, and then we can just help guide you as how to move around our IBC online portal. So we do have price list information section. This section you will be able to download an Excel sheet with pricings, and these files are actually uploaded regularly. So in case of change in prices, so you are able to download the files onto your computer, and then you can integrate it with your own online shop. And you are able to choose between the Rand or the US dollars once you have downloaded the Excel sheet. You just need to make sure that you enable the editable field. And then now we'll look at the next section, which is the online shop. So when you click on this online shop, you will then come to see our brands. You will see the equipment that we sell on the solar side, which is your PV modules, your inverters, storage, which will be your batteries, mounting systems, which is our own IBC modules, accessories, which will be from your GoodWe's accessories, and e-mobility, then you'll be looking at your GoodWe EV chargers. So once you click there, these are our brands, my PV, Meteor Control, IBC's own modules, Longi, Jollywood, SMA, Victron, Fronius, and the one and only, which we'll be looking into today, which is GoodWe. So now you will then be able to see here on my documents. If you go to my documents, you will then be able to see all the information that you need in terms of the data, the shipping addresses, your own documents, such as your tax invoices, your delivery notes, everything will be available on the IBC documents. So you do not have to contact your sales manager. You can instantly get it on our online shop, which makes it more efficient and less admin work. And yeah, I find it very helpful. Instead of contacting sales managers, everything is available online, which makes everything fast. So now we'll be looking at the volume prices. So our online shop automatically integrates the scale prices. So you don't have to worry about having to contact your sales managers to help you with that. So once you make a pay, once you select the units, you will be able to the prices will be automated automatically. If you're looking for the IBC monosol or any other documents, like for instance, your NRS codes or the data sheet or installation manuals, you will be able to find it on the downloads. So you will see it down the arrow below. You see downloads there. So all you have to do is just click there and all the documents will be available for you to download, from warranty, installation, declaration of conformity. So everything is available. And yeah, hopefully that helps for everybody who's looking for instance, on the IBC modules, your short circuit current or your open circuit, your VOC. So also IBC on our online shop, we do have availability. If you see that it's green, for instance, in this case, you see that it's available and we have about 1,000 pieces and above available. So you can rest assured that when you make the purchase, that the modules are the modules or whatever it is that you're purchasing is available, and the sales managers will then contact you later to confirm your order. So you can request a quote. So there's a section there. You can just click request code and then go to continue after selecting your products, and then everything will then be used there, and then you can be able to also put on your coupon code. And then we also have our in-house software, which is PV Manager. So PV Manager is a software that assists in designing. So this will be something similar to Helioscope PV Assist, but then this is more for in-house in terms if you want to create your own documentation with the cable losses, bill of material, everything is PV Manager is connected to our online shop. So it actually helps you with setting up the quote. So you are able to get this. You just need to then contact your sales manager, and then your sales manager will then assist you in getting PV Manager, and then you can just take it from there. And then we do have our own technical team, in-house technical team, which assists our installers if they need help on site or maybe on remote support. So all the prices are available, and you can be able to check it out and then just contact your sales manager to request assistance in this. So we do go on site if you need help in commissioning, or if you need help in calculating what inverter you need, how many panels you need, the layout, we do assist in that. And then also we do have the order management. So you will be able to see there will be a list of all confirmed pending orders, overview of all pending invoices. You are able to see all of that. So it is easy. Our online shop is there to help all our installers, all our clients, to get all the information that they need at a click of a finger. And then we'll be looking at financing options. So our financing options, we do have a 30-day payment term account on request. So when you are signed up with us, you then need to have a chat with your sales manager, who will be allocated to you during your sign up. And then he will then assist you on how to proceed if you are looking for a 30-day payment term. And then we do have a second one, the second option, which is a 3-month repayment period with LulaPay. So this is not IBC's own software, but this is LulaPay. I'm not sure if many of you are aware of it or know LulaPay, but then it is a good software, if I may call it, that you can pay back over a certain period of time, which is 6 months. And then if your client doesn't have money, so you're able to pay it back. So you can use that, and then you can get your stock. And I think that's it from me. And I'd like to give this chance to David. I'm sure all of you are eager to hear from David. So I'll just give this chance to David to take over and just share some information with us on the GoodWe products. So David, I think you can, I think before you take, if there are any questions, you can drop the questions below, and then we will help you if you need assistance on our online shop. Our sales manager will contact you. But I would like to give David this opportunity to then take the stage and just give us some information on the GoodWe product.
Good morning. Thank you very much. I hope everyone can hear me loud and clearly.
Yeah, I think if I can on my side, I think everybody can.
Perfect. Let us get started. I'll just quickly go over the GoodWe company's profile as well, just for those who aren't too familiar with GoodWe. So GoodWe's vision is to drive the world's smart energy future, and our mission is that we are determined to be the main driving force for the global energy transition and create a sustainable future. GoodWe has quite a few milestones. So we were established in 2010 and have a lot of different milestones over the years that we've gone through. We've also in 2022 did a global rebranding. So anyone who is familiar with GoodWe back from 2010, 2018, 2019, in 2022, we rebranded to the new GoodWe logo, as you can see on screen. The GoodWe has over 4,600 total employees, more than 850 R&D staff, and 150 overseas employees. As you'll see, our company growth is quite immense. So year on year, we have almost doubled our growth each year. GoodWe has a global presence. So we've got branches and offices all over the world. We're missing one year, which is Kenya as well. GoodWe has also won many awards over the years, from a design award, the UPD top brand, won 5 consecutive years, the TUV Rhineland All Matters Awards. We're the sole inverter brand who've won this 7 years consecutively. The closest is 3 years. And then there's quite a few other awards as well. The GoodWe has over 30 gigawatts of production capacity and 2.1 gigawatt hours of battery capacity production annually. Our installed capacity is already exceeding 52 gigawatts. That's about 2 gigawatts of energy storage, 24 gigawatts of residential grid ties, 2 gigawatts of utility, which is growing quite quickly, and then 23 gigawatts of commercial and industrial. Just a brief overview of GoodWe's market share globally. So some countries like Czechoslovakia, 50% or more than 50%. South Africa, we're busy taking more market share as well. Looking at some of our overseas warehouses, we also do have a after-sales warehouse in South Africa. These are sales warehouses. And now let's move over to our portfolio. So GoodWe does have a wide range of devices. There are a few that we'll focus on today, but we do have residential grid tie inverters from 700 watts all the way up to 20 kilowatts. Energy storage from 3 to 100 kilowatts. We have the utility scale grid tie inverters 225 to 250. And then our commercial range is 25 to 120 kilowatts. So let's start with our CNI range. A lot of our CNI and utility products are all high efficiency. We have robust designs, so low weight and low volume for ease of installation, high yield with full power operation up to 45 or 50 degrees Celsius ambient temperature. All of our devices have a 10% extra AC output. They are all IP65 rated and can generally come standard with Wi-Fi. They also do have RS485 and other communication methods available. And all of our devices include SEMS as a free monitoring platform. Here's a look at some of the series. So we have the STT G2 Plus series. So that's the smaller grid ties. Then we have the SMT series, which ranges from 25 to 60 kilowatts. The MT series, which is being phased out. There is still some availability of the 80 kilowatts. And then the HT series, which is 100 to 120 kilowatts. These are all your standard 400 volt AC. Just a note, you'll see 136 here is for the 500 volt AC device. That will be on special applications. Typically, we only have the 100 and 120 kilowatt. Also note here the 3 MPPTs. So all the way up to your 40 kilowatt, there's 3 MPPTs. Then the 5, 50, and the 60 have 5 and 6 MPPTs on those units. Then the utility series. The utility series is our 250 kilowatts. The 250 kilowatts typically come in 2 models. You'll see one has 12 MPPTs and one has 6 MPPTs. So the selection of the models will also be based on what modules you're going to use. So you'll see the 12 MPPTs has 30 amps per MPPT. That's rated at 15 amps per input. Where the 6 MPPT unit has 60 amps per MPPT. So that's 20 amps per input. So these also have 3 inputs per MPPT, but fusing still is not required on these units because they have smart trippable DC switches. So should anything go wrong, the inverter trips the DC switch and gives you an alarm in the portal so you can go and inspect it. I think everyone is aware with the multiple MPPTs, you have a lot more efficiency, especially accounting for a lot of site-related issues that could happen, module damages, dirt, soiling, module mismatch, different tilt or azimuth. The multiple MPPTs give us a lot more flexibility. In our utility devices, we can DC oversize by 1.5 times, so that you can 50% oversize your array. So that oversizing is for your winter production as well as making up for any other losses. But with our inverters, you can get also 10% AC output. So on a 100 kilowatt inverter or 1 megawatt plant, you'll get 1.1 megawatt AC output. That is quite a benefit, especially for any PPA projects or anything like that. We do offer quite a few optional features. So if this is a requirement on any sites or any special requirements, you can inquire with IBC to procure devices with these optional accessories, like the PID recovery function. So it's potentially induced degradation. Modules always suffer from this. Normally on the first couple of months of operation of your modules, you'll have a quick drop off of a few percentage, And then you'll lose percentages over years as you go. So what this does at night, it sends a reverse flow power back into the modules, helping to reduce this degradation. So with GoodWe inverters, we can have this built in internally in the devices. So typically the alternatives would be having an external anti-PID box, where if you do require this, it would be much more cost efficient to have it internally in the device. The next is AFCI, which is arc fault circuit interruption. So this is actually an option on all of our devices, so all of our inverters. You can order as an optional extra. So what this means, this is a safety portion. So in Europe, we have a lot of requirement for this already, where insurance companies request that devices do have arc fault interruption or arc fault protection in order to ensure the systems. So in South Africa, we don't have any problems with that yet. But if you do have any sensitive installations, petroleum factories, or anything like that, this is a nice option to have. Then looking at that production curve versus temperature, as you'll see, our inverters run the 110%, that's that 10% extra AC output, all the way up to 45 degrees Celsius. Then only down to 50 degrees Celsius are we at 100%. This is ambient temperature. So all of our inverters are fan cooled. So we have high-speed Japanese fans, IP68 rated fans, so some of the highest rated and duty fans you can get. And this enables us to run much higher power at much higher ambient temperatures. Then for communication to the devices, so typically we'd have the RS485 communications with our SEC 1000. The SEC 1000 will also give us load monitoring if there is any other special requirements on the site, like generator integration or anything like that. IBC can assist with a third-party controller to do the generator integration. And then for larger commercial or utility plants, we can also have power line communication. So that is an optional extra which you can order the devices with. So the power line communication is then for the transformer isolated systems. So there can be no loads between the inverter and the transformer. And for that, we use the SEB 3000. And then all of our devices should come standard with Wi-Fi, but we do also have other options for communication. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to pop them in the chat and we'll answer them as we go. And I'll move over to our energy storage systems. So why have batteries? If we look on top, there's the typical load curve for the typical household. As you'll see, a lot of the consumption is early mornings and in the evenings. So when we only add PV to a system, we'll see how we can save on this usage. And if we're allowed to feed in, we can feed in some areas, maybe to help for this consumption. But if you're not allowed to feed in, having a battery will make sure that we can cover all of our consumption. The systems are designed efficiently. The GoodWe inverters are grid connection with storage. They are fully bi-directional hybrid inverters. So they do grid tie. You also have your storage and your backup AC output. So the inverter, when it is grid connected with your smart meter, it has no differentiation in the priority between loads. So the on-grid and the backup loads are seen as the same priority. So for savings wise, that is the best, but we'll always try and save as much as possible. And should the grid fail, we have the UPS level changeover switch off in milliseconds. Here's the overview of our hybrid series. I'm missing one here for South Africa. I apologize for that. This is our international presentation. And in South Africa, we have the EHB series as well. We have our new ES Generation 2 units. So that's taking over both the EM series and the ES series is now combined into the ES Generation 2. The EM series I don't think we'll really have in South Africa. ESG2 standard series will have for the 3, 3.5, 5, and 6 kilowatt units. These are all single phase, low voltage batteries with dual MPPTs. And the EHB, which isn't on this page, also goes from 5 to 10 kilowatts, and they all use high voltage batteries. And then here's our larger, which we call more large residential and C&I. So we have the ET 15 to 30 kilowatt. So these are three-phase devices. So the 15 and the 20 kilowatt have 2 MPPTs and 1 battery input, where the 25 and the 30 kilowatt have 3 MPPTs and 2 battery inputs. And then we also have the ETC and BTC, which will be coming soon. So the 50 or 100 kilowatt units. So our devices are all like quiet, efficient. So the ES Generation 2 is completely fanless. It does have one small internal fan, so when it's running in the middle of the day with a lot of PV, you'll have a slight hum on the device. A small internal fan, but it doesn't make a lot of noise at all. So it can work in an ambient range of -25 to +60 degrees Celsius, with up to 45 degrees Celsius full load operation. They are IP65, so ideal for any harsh conditions. You can operate up to a 4,000 meter altitude. So the ESG2, so all of our newer devices gives us this capability. The older devices did 1.25 overload, allowed of excess PV being on the device. But all our new devices is 1.5, so the ESG2 and the ET15 to 30 kilowatt. So what we mean with 1.5 times PV overload on the device, so it means you can add 50% more solar to your inverter. And that is 50% usable. So you can oversize your array even larger as long as it's within voltage and current parameters. You can oversize it larger than the 1.5 times, but the inverter can utilize 1.5 times the PV. So what it means, it can give you your full power. So in this example, 5 kilowatt, it can give us our full 5 kilowatt AC output from the inverter, and then also simultaneously charge the batteries at 2.5 kilowatts. So it will share that 7.5 based on the requirements, but only giving a maximum of 5 kilowatt output. So this gives us a lot more flexibility, especially with off-grid operation, where you might require a larger PV system. You can run larger loads during the day up to the inverter's maximum capacity, as well as still charge your batteries to have a reserve for the night. So this is just an example. So when we typically DC oversize on an on-grid inverter, so all that does is gets us earlier to our peak. As you can see here, the peak is reached earlier and the peak ends later. All of this excess energy is typically lost. Now we can use all of this energy to charge the batteries. And then backup overload capability of the ES Generation 2. So the ESG2 supports 2 times part number overload. So when the grid is available, we can overload constantly up to 10 kilowatts on the 5 kilowatt and 6 kilowatt. a maximum of 10 kilowatt overload when the grid is available. We have sufficient PV and battery available. We can also run the loads up to 10 kilowatt. And we can only overload for 10 seconds up to that 10 kilowatt as well when we only have batteries available. So should the grid fail and it's nighttime, then we'll be more limited to our 5 kilowatts we can discharge from the battery. But if we in the middle of the day with a battery, we can overload our inverter quite a bit. And I've tested this myself. I only have a battery that can give me 3 kilowatts, but during the day, the inverter will never trip if the sun shine. We can run everything in the house. So the ESG2 also has the parallel capability, so it's one of our first devices that we can parallel. Currently, they only parallel in single phase. For the parallel installation, you do require our smart dongle, which is called the Easy Link. So you need one of these per system. So in this, you'll see the inverters connect to each other via an RS485 cable, and then the master inverter has the Easy Link connected. I'll show the installation diagram for this shortly. All of our hybrid inverters, we believe in a one-stop, all-in-box solution. All of the components you need for that hybrid inverter, all the connectors, meter, anything like that that you would need for the inverter itself will be included in the box. So the brackets, the DC terminals for your PV, your battery terminals will also be provided. On the high voltage, you'll see we'll have plugs like this, where the low voltage just has your standard lugs included. We even have the PE terminal because we want you to install that external PE to the body of the inverter, and all the other required terminals for the smart meter as well. This is a look. So when our system is on grid with battery, and as soon as the grid fails, the inverter will immediately, within 10 milliseconds, switch over and continue running the backup loads. So all of our hybrid inverters have the integrated backup system, so everything is internally in the inverter. At 10 millisecond changeover time, it doesn't matter if you're using a 3 kilowatt GoodWe or a 100 kilowatt GoodWe hybrid inverter, your changeover time is less than 10 milliseconds. You don't require any external equipment for that. Your PV supply is always supplying even during grid outages. With our three-phase devices, we also have 100% unbalanced output on the backup. We also have unbalanced output on the grid feed inside of the inverters as well. And then we have the high backup load capacity. Step 4, you have a 3 kilowatt inverter, and it has a 6 kilowatt overload. It's still not a high power. So with our hybrids, there are a lot of flexible application possibilities. So a new hybrid installation, or just installing it as a UPS, or adding a hybrid installation to an existing grid tie installation, or simply just adding a battery to an existing installation. As I mentioned earlier, the PV supply priority for all of our devices is loads first, battery second, and lastly would be export. This is a more in-depth look at the parallel. I'm sure a lot of people have questions about the parallel installation. So we have two diagrams. You can find the manual. I'll show you how to find all the manuals shortly. Here's a typical installation. So this is number one. So either you can have your inverters each with their own individual battery bank. Will have the same size battery bank, same size DC cables, and same length backup cables. It's always good to do that because any difference in resistance in your cables can cause an unbalanced load running on your system. So this is 2 to 3 units. You'll have UPS level switching time. And option number 2 is having a combined battery bank. So having one large battery bank in parallel on the parallel system. As you'll see in this scenario, the battery communication as well as the meter communication goes to the master inverter only. And the same would apply for this. Your cables from the bus bar to the inverters as well as the backup cables always be the same length. Then I'll just mention this also. So we also, in Europe, we call this a parallel option. In South Africa, I call this a common metering point. So for our 3-phase hybrid inverters, not currently with the 15 to 30 kilowatts, our older 5 to 10 kilowatts, we can have the common metering point, which is the SEC 1000S, to make a much larger self-consumption system. And on all of our hybrids, we also have battery reservation as well. You can select on-grid and off-grid depth of discharges. So if you want to use X amount for self-consumption, plus keeping a reserve for grid outages. All of our newer hybrids also have smart load control, so they do have smart relays internally that you can program for a few different operations. So from just a power switching mode, timed mode, or backup load control. So that's if we want to switch a load in and out of the backup. So if we're running off grid and we want to, let's say, put on a water heater or something like that in the middle of the day when we have sufficient PV, we can also do that to switch things in or loads on inverter, make sure they run when the sun is shining. We can also make sure to switch loads off and on with battery capacity as well. Next, GoodWe inverters are compatible with a wide range of batteries. Some of our models have a wide range of batteries we can use, but please always check our approved battery statement, and you can download our brochures and manuals. For this battery statement you'll find with any of our hybrid inverters, which gives you a list of compatible batteries. Just note that there are sometimes local batteries that may not be on this list that are approved, but you can consult IBC for that. Now just a quick look to see where you can download. So on GoodWe.com, you can just go to our website. You can go to solutions and products and select your specific product. Here you can find inverter, simply select it, and then say download PDF. That will take you to the bottom of the page where you can download your battery approved statement. You can download the user manual. You can download the data sheet. There are also certifications and other things you can download there if required. And here's just a nice example of that common metering point, which I mentioned earlier. We can have a big self-consumption system with our 3-phase hybrid inverters. The GoodWe is moving over to an overview sector coupling, so adding additional products to have additional sectors that we can cover. So from our inverters to our batteries, We can link with our smart load relay to SG-ready heat pumps, intelligent heaters, EV chargers, other open web wall box, which is also all different EV chargers, as well as GoodWe's EV charger. So it will act as our smart home manager and data logger. So looking at GoodWe's EV chargers, which we are offering now as well. There are 3 versions currently: a 7 kilowatt single phase, 11 or 22 kilowatt 3-phase. They come with a 6-meter charger cable included, and they have built-in 6 milliamp RCDs, earth leakage, as we call it in South Africa, built into the device. Our devices got smart charging, so we can smart charge the EVs only from PV, or we can set it to just charge normally. So it communicates with our inverters or along with our smart meters, and then can charge our cars with, we can select from PV or battery. This will require a GoodWe inverter and battery. GoodWe's battery inverters. So these devices can communicate with all our GoodWe inverters, the hybrid inverters. They communicate to inverters via SEMS portal. So everything connects to Wi-Fi, and then they communicate to each other via the portal. This does have built-in Bluetooth as well for direct communication and direct control or configuration of the device. We do offer optional accessories, so an external RCD type A with IP65 housing, so that's an external earth leakage. We also offer the ground mounting pole, as you can see here, for single phase charger or 3-phase charger. So looking at the system overview, we'll have our inverter with our batteries and the charger, the protection devices connected then to the EV. These will communicate, we'll get data and configuration from the portal. The portal will tell the charger what is available from the solar side, and then it will charge the electric vehicle from what is available. Then lastly, we're looking at the GoodWe batteries. The GoodWe has the Lynx Home U series and Lynx Home F Plus series, so our low voltage and high voltage batteries. The Lynx Home F is 6.6 kilowatt hour minimum, so that's 2 modules. As you'll see here, 2 modules minimum 6.6 kilowatt hours up to 16.4. And you can also parallel up to 8 of these towers. These are compatible with all of our high voltage battery inverters. In one of our new products, which is coming along with our 50 and 100 kilowatt inverters, is the Lynx C. The Lynx C is what we call our commercial CNI battery. They start from 101 kilowatt hours all the way up to 156 kilowatt hours. These we can parallel up to 3 of these batteries for 1 battery connector. The 50 kilowatt will have a single battery input. The 100 kilowatt will have 2. So on the 50 we can put 3 of these, and the 100 we can put 6 of these batteries. You can make quite a big battery system with that 50 or 100 kilowatt ETC. Then lastly, I'll just quickly go through some of our accessories just to make sure there's no problems there. So our EasyLogger Pro Smart Meter and AC disconnect switch integrated, the SEC box It's an all-in-one integrated system. It's got an Easy Logger Pro. It's got our smart meter, got a breaker as well. It's got the power control and protection box, and then we have connection board for our CTs. This can be connected to up to 60 inverters. So we have 3 COM ports, 20 inverters per COM port. This also offers us load monitoring as well as export power limiting. We also have a few modules. So we've got the Wi-Fi module, which is standard on most of our devices, and then the new Wi-Fi LAN module, which will be available for majority of our series. The Easy Logger Pro is a device which we typically only use for weather station monitoring or just monitoring of inverters. And then the SEC 1000 we use for monitoring of our inverters as well as export power control. Then for load monitoring on our devices, we have a few options. So for all of our hybrids, you'll use the meter that is supplied with it. For the on-grid grid tie inverters, single phase, we have a HomeKit 1000. This is essentially a smart meter with its own Wi-Fi connection. It has dual CTs, so it can measure a third-party PV inverter as well as the loads, the output. The 3-phase smart meter comes along with 3-phase inverters. There are a few more newer 3-phase meters coming soon. We also have the HomeKit 3000, which is for load monitoring on our on-grid inverters, so the smaller grid ties. Then the SEC 1000 is there for all of our larger CNI devices. So those don't come with CTs. You buy your own 5 amp ratio CTs, and then you can do load monitoring and export power limiting. Then lastly, we have our SEMS portal, which is free for all of our devices. You can register as an installer. The SEMS portal does give you a lot of benefits. So in the plant, you have a nice overview, your last measured power, your system overview that you configured, weather forecast based on the location pin which you select when you create your plant. You can see all your devices. On the hybrid, you can also see the energy flow, a nice system overview graph, also your accumulated data. In the device information, you'll see you have a breakdown of all the different voltages and currents. You also have the curve where you can go into and see a breakdown of the individual information. If you want to assess any of your strings or anything like that, you can come in here to look at the strings. And you'll also see the string level monitoring. So for some of our devices that have multiple inputs per string, you can come here and you can see the individual strings on that. Then the weather integration, as I mentioned, with the Easy Logger Pro. The Easy Logger Pro, you can connect a weather station to its COM port 4, and then you can have that visualized on the SEMS portal that can give you your production ratio and all of that as well. So for any larger commercial sites, customers want an overview to compare their production versus the radiation, also do that. With SEMS portal as well from the installer account. So if you don't have an installer account, you can ask IBC as well to send you a link, or the GoodWe support team to send you a link to register as an installer. From there, you can get alarms. You can even get email alarm notifications. You can export all the plant data to Excel. You can manage your organization from one singular account. You can have a geographical overview. So to know if you're an installer, you'll see if you go to settings, my account, you'll have an installer code. If you do not have an installer code, it means you are not an installer. It's then recommended to register as an installer. So you can contact the support teams, either from GoodWe or IBC, and then we can send you a link to register as an installer. As an installer, we have a few advantages. As you see, we have one main account. Apologies for all the German screenshots. So from main account, you have your organization, and from there you have your list, so you can add multiple people. Yeah, so anyone in your organization, if you have more installers, even your salespeople, you can add everyone to this one account. Everyone can have an overview of all the plants and all your installations, as well as if you can manage and see them from the office if you're sending out teams to site to do the work. And that is all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. That was very informative. So yeah, is there any questions? Let's just look at the questions here. I think somebody just dropped a question. This is from Darcy. He's asking when the HP Hybrid EP 15 kilowatt plus series will receive the NRS certification for SCG registration. I think this Darcy's in Cape Town.
Yes,
So he's asking for that. Yeah.
No problem, I'll go through that. So it's already been approved. It's already been approved by the City of Cape Town as well. So NRS is complete. The SCG registration is complete. So it should be in the next latest document. I think it was approved in the beginning of this month or no, last month. That's already complete. Question number 2, can the grid tie inverters be used with frequency shifting power control? So yes, all of our inverters are capable of doing the frequency shift power control. It is a standard feature for any German grid code. Inverters that work in Germany can also work. Sorry, you have quite a bit of background noise there. Yes, all of our inverters can frequency shift. We are working to improve this to work in off-grid scenarios. GoodWe does have the DNS, which is a single-phase device that already has special firmware to work well in export power limiting as well as frequency shifting. The only problem comes when you need to power limit and frequency shift at the same time, that you might run into some troubles. If it's a pure frequency shifting or off-grid scenario, you should have little to no problems with the frequency shifting on all of our devices. But if it's a grid connected system and you need export power limiting along with the frequency shifting when it goes off-grid, you might run into some troubles. But we are working to improve that. Number 3, will the ETC get NRS? So the ETC 50 kilowatt has already been done the NRS. We are busy with the 100 kilowatt version as well because that hasn't been released yet. So the new NRS will be applied on that. It should be another month or so, then we'll get the NRS. So that's why that's the only thing that's pending at the moment is the NRS certification. So as soon as that's complete, then I'm sure distribution will order the new devices. Question number 4. How can one get more accessories provided with the inverter? Some connectors, comms cables, etc. They get damaged. So at the moment, we are busy setting up a repair center in South Africa. So the repair center will also have parts, components, all those kind of things, where one can purchase anything like that as well. Number 5, how do GoodWe inverters interface with the GoodWe EV charger? So as I mentioned in the slides, both of them require an internet connection, so they communicate via our portal. So all the data of the inverter goes to the portal, and then that gets worked and sent then to the EV charger. So the EV charger is somewhat cloud controlled, so that when we have different scenarios, you can select. So with the EV chargers, you can select to charge from only PV, you can charge from PV and battery, or you can set it to quick charge from the grid. Number 6, where can one buy the GoodWe Links batteries? So our batteries should be available from most of our suppliers. I think IBC does have an order, if I'm not mistaken, but you can speak to your sales representative about that. The NRS certificate should be on the website. I'll just double check whether it's there or not. Otherwise, I have already forwarded it to IBC so they can provide it to you. The next question, can the inverter be accessed in the internet via the SolarGo app, or do you have to be connected to Solar Wi-Fi? So on the SolarGo app cannot do a remote configuration at the moment. It's something that we are working on, but it's not yet available. We can do some configurations from the SEMS portal app on our mobile phone. Some of our new models still not working at the moment. Should work for the ESG2 and the ET 15 to 30 kilowatts within the next month or so. Is there any more questions?
I think that's about it. If there's no questions, any questions, going once, going twice. Any questions on the paralleling? Okay, I think everything is good. Thanks, David, for that. I think the GoodWe ES20s are quite good, especially that now that you can parallel them. And I think that's good for the market. And I think the nice thing about the GoodWe is that extra 10% on the AC side. I think that'll be very beneficial for the installers to present to their clients. And yeah, but I think one question for me is the depth of discharge on the grid is available. Oh, when the grid is not available, I think you shared it on the slide.
Yes.
Yes, just a little bit more on that to say, let's say you have there's a grid loss and you put that depth of discharge to let's say 80%. No, let's say 85%. What happens to the depth of discharge off grid, depth of discharge on grid, off grid? Yeah. So what happens there with that depth of discharge? Do you know what that is? I see that's 90. Let's say you put in 85 for that stop, or that cut off the whole system before the battery switches off. Is that the whole concept?
Yes, so that's why you'll see it's called SOC protection to protect your batteries. So one should never disable this feature. It's there to make sure that your batteries don't over discharge. So in the past, some customers might have used it with some other devices used to support lead acid batteries. But for lithium batteries, you never want to disable that because you'll run your battery down, your battery will switch off, and you'll never be able to recover it. It's always good to leave this on. So you set the amount of power you want to use out of your battery. So as there's 90%, it means it's going to use 90% of your battery and take it down to a 10% SOC, so 10% state of charge. If there's no other sources of power available, once it reaches that 10%, it will switch off the backup, and then the inverter will just sit and idle in wait mode, waiting for power to come back. So either the sun will rise or the grid will come on, then it will continue normal operation.
Yeah. Okay. No, perfect. Thanks. Well, I see Darcy has a question. How
Yes.
can I adjust the SOC depth of discharge from remote SEMS portal? I think you mentioned this. Just
Yes. So from the SEMS portal app on your mobile phone, if you have an installer account, you'll be able to do this. So you simply go to your plant, you scroll all the way down, you select the device. On the device, you'll see there's a configure button. You go in there, you'll see there's configuration for grid code, for the batteries, for the work mode, all of that there on the SEMS portal.
perfect. Thanks Thanks, David. So I think, yeah, we're done with our training for today. So if there are any questions, you can drop them and then we'll make sure that we respond. Just make sure that you're registered with us on the link that's Nate posted so that you can receive the recording after the webinar. I just wanted to make sure that everybody's aware of that. And yeah, thank you everyone for joining. And yeah, until we meet again next time.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have a wonderful day.